Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there.
Hi, guys. We want to thank you guys for being part of the family. Make sure you are subscribed. Again, Evolutionary Energy Arts is the original channel from 2017. EE Arts is the one that we ended up doing more videos and things from when Evolutionary was going through a period of, I guess, being spanked by YT, so to speak. So that's the backup channel, came into existence 2019. And then Heart's Home is the newest channel. So we have 3 YouTube channels. Heart's Home is definitely the lighter side of things. No news there, more spiritual and deep dives of that sort. So we want to give you guys thanks and make sure that you are subscribed to all 3 of the channels.
Indeed.
Now, here we go. We got a lot of volcanic activity. This is a massive eruption of Mount Semeru. This is in East Java, Indonesia. Wow, this looks like a big one. This is a very, very busy volcano. It does erupt regularly. When you look at this eruption, it looks just like an eruption that we've seen in the past because it's the same area. And yet, what's going on here? Well, it's building land, and it's the same sort of process that's underway in Hawaii. Because Hawaii, those islands, they're growing, and at some point in time, Hawaii may literally turn into a new continent. Of course, these things take time, but do they take hundreds of millions of years, like the scientists say? I think that's a little debatable.
Very debatable.
So this is very, very scary situation. The people there are not unused to this. We send our prayers and best intentions to everybody over there. Over in Vietnam, again, the Vietnam War was happening when I was a little kid. And Vietnam, by the way, is one of the top places for expats leaving the U.S., looking for life elsewhere in a friendly environment that is more affordable. Well, they're getting pounded right now again from storms. So many people are. Look at they're leaving through the roof to get rescued. This is just, it's somewhere every single day. And I don't think it's always this intense, but we have definitely entered into a new cycle of intense weather all across the planet as you look at some of the scenes here. Vietnam, by the way, was lost as far as the war goes to the communists. But as you may know, we feel, again, those labels are simply that. They're just labels, and labels can divide us, and we need to get past division. And we need to think of new ways of doing things on planet Earth. Okay, so it feels like, as far as the earthquakes are going, there certainly is something building. Nothing is huge out there. The biggest earthquake is like a 5.4. But there is a swarm that's happening in basically California. We have this 4.1, 7 kilometers west of Templeton, California. I'm not familiar with this area. I've never done that ride along the coast. I would love to. I know Cindy actually lived in the San Jose area for a while. California is a beautiful state, maybe not such beautiful governance, but certainly a beautiful state. And here you go with this swarm. When you go down past this, you'll notice, look, there's a lot more earthquakes underneath that. In fact, 15 more. California does get swarms. What do you feel, sweetie?
It does feel kind of on the natural side to me. I don't think this is technology. I think she's needing to breathe.
Okay. Well, that is good. Senate unanimously approves bill to release the Gilligan Island files. Yeah, I like saying that term there. 427 to 1. 427 to 1 to approve it. So the bill is sent to President Trump's desk for a signature. Release the files. When do you ever see them vote 427 to 1? Well, we're going to see how this goes. And this is Thomas Massey, who I'm not sure who else is on his team, at least appearance-wise. Again, so much is done for appearances. But in this case, his legislation passed 427 to 1. That is very unusual. And then here you have Coomer exposing Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor for soliciting a meeting and donations from the Gilligan's Island guy, even after he was convicted. Yeah, there's a lot coming out. This is the apocalypse after all. It's the big reveal. The Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, she has issued a ferocious warning to Trump after threats of striking into Mexico, and we were reading some of her statements about not being able to attack the cartels and legal, ramifications and stuff from Mexico's own police forces. And so, Trump has said that he'll go anywhere to stop the drug dealing coming into the United States. Would I launch strikes into Mexico to stop the drugs? Trump said it's okay with me. Whatever we have to do is stop drugs. I didn't say I'm doing it, but he said I'd be proud to do it because we're going to save millions of lives by doing it. And this is not okay with the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Yeah, again, there's a lot of tensions going on with our southern neighbor, and yet the people in Mexico themselves are at the government doors demanding that things go differently. They're not happy, and this is the thing that the system really fears is humanity waking up and saying, no, we're not going to accept this system anymore in total. Meanwhile, Washington State resident hospitalized with a virus never before seen in humans. This person is severely ill with a strain of virus never been before confirmed in humans. This is what they say. The patient, older adult, underlying conditions, hospitalized with a strain of avian flu in early November after suffering from a high fever, confusion, and breathing difficulties. About 100 miles west of Seattle, Grays Harbor County. The Polish psychic did see something that would be coming out around this time. In fact, he had said the 18th that there would be something that had to be underway by the 18th geopolitically, or perhaps was this what he was seeing? Here you go. President Trump, they say, got Saudi Arabia to nearly double their $600 billion investment in the USA to $1 trillion. And, I asked Cindy to feel into this with the Saudi crown prince. And what she picked up on was that he honestly feels, and I've never heard him speak English so well. He must have been, studying. Maybe he always spoke English so well. But honestly, it felt more like it was somebody playing a role, an actor from New Jersey maybe, playing the role of a Saudi prince.
It just seems like really big powers coming together and going to utilize each other and AI for surveillance. It just feels like it's something, it's a setup as usual, these regular players coming together so that they can get one step closer to that global order and using AI to do it. If we look at what happened yesterday, I do think that there was an AI element, but I also think it was a deliberate seed put into the backbone of our internet to create more reasons to control us. So now almost every time we click on a new screen or bring up a browser, it's always, prove you're human, prove you're human, prove you're human, or, take this test or do that test, just make sure you're human. It just doesn't feel right since yesterday. It feels like it's one step closer to global control.
This is China. The other thing that we're seeing, too, is the selling of communism. And so, as we've said, there's 3 world wars that have been planned, perhaps going back to 1871, maybe going back way further than that. And, well, do they have an outcome that they want? This reminds me, those lights remind me of the Vatican to a degree. with the serpentine scaly skin, doesn't it? This is a pretty impressive looking, train station. I mean, a subway certainly doesn't look like what I was used to seeing in New York City. I mean, that didn't change in 50 years, really. Not hardly at all, but it certainly has changed in China and places like Singapore and some other, mostly Asian cities that have gone next level when it comes to technology. Yeah, I think it's part of the shift, the big shift of the ages. This is a big shift. Here you go. We're looking at that giant triangular thing that supposedly flew in front of the International Space Station. Again, I don't think it's Stanley Kubrick production, because I don't think he's doing that anymore, but could be somebody else. It's interesting. It's certainly got a lot of attention. A large triangular UFO flew near the ISS. Everybody can see two big, what they're calling red exhausts, NASA Skycam footage. Oh, is it Planet Venus, weather balloon, ice crystals, Project Bluebeam out in space? Again, it's part of awakening us to the Star Wars, Star Trek type of reality that we really are in and we've always been in. Meanwhile, in Australia, they have very weird house pets.
Yes, it looks like there's gross, there's cockroaches up there too. This is just gross.
Yeah, that is just wow. I mean, kudos to the Australians out there that are used to things like that. How about this? Magic, how did they break those? Well, he did it just simply with some like railroad spikes and a sledgehammer. He literally broke that gigantic boulder. But I think in most cases there was a lot different technology involved. But when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, no, this just explains everything about how they made the pyramids. Everything.
Yeah. There's a lot more that goes on that meets the eye. But you have to ask and question, why when you have something so beautiful, 1916, outdoor theater, Bucharest, Romania, why would you let it get like this? I mean, it's beautiful. But yet it seems like the politicians don't want to preserve the past. Not really. They want to preserve the power structure. But how could you let something like that, such a historical, beautiful thing, go to waste? And then a lot of people are looking at melted cities everywhere, or at least starting to see melted cities everywhere, where we might have been told, well, that's just this type of rock formation, that's just that type of rock formation. You're seeing into something that's just not really there. Or is it? Again, Medusa, a Titan, the ability to turn things to stone. How about Sodom and Gomorrah and, Lot's wife turning into a salt pillar? Could it be that it was actually technology? How about this? This is just the illusion of a 7-foot footprint. I mean, it's not really a footprint. It's just the way the water went. And it's just, it's just a coincidence that it's shaped a lot like a footprint that's 7 foot long.
Yeah, and if you count the toes, it's not really 6 either.
No, you're just being silly now. How about this? I mean, all the whitewashing of the... well, it seems like they do whitewash the sky in the old photographs that we have of stuff that we would call Tartaria or Tartarian. Again, such grand buildings, so attention to detail that we just don't see these days. Is this what it was really like? With all these airships up in the sky and perhaps, utilizing amazing technology? Or is it just simply tales to be enjoyed by the fire?
Isn't that cute?
Warm your tootsies up and get ready for winter because it's coming in the northern hemisphere.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. But hey, got a nice fire. Tell a good story. Maybe a little apple cider or what have you. It's nice.
Life is good.
Thank you guys for being on this journey with us. We look forward to your comments. Please do like, share, subscribe. Help us to overcome the algorithm. You know how it is.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.